In order to counter China's rise, Trump's 2025 plan includes a proposal to regain control of the Panama Canal. To put it simply, his goal is to use this critical shipping route as a means to disrupt global supply chains and economically isolate China by cutting off its access to key markets in Latin America and Europe. Naturally, China isn't sitting back and allowing this to happen. In response, the Chinese government has turned its attention to Nicaragua, with a plan to build a new canal there that could eventually replace the Panama Canal. This massive infrastructure project, once completed, would shorten the travel distance between the U.S. East Coast and West Coast by around 4,000 kilometers, significantly reducing China's dependence on the Panama Canal. The Nicaragua Canal could, in theory, revolutionize global shipping routes and challenge Panama's long-standing monopoly over this key maritime passage. The central question is whether this Nicaragua Canal could actually break the U.S. trade blockade against China, and what tangible benefits Nicaragua could gain from hosting such a monumental project. It's clear that both the U.S. and China have vital interests in this region. The U.S. sees the Panama Canal as a strategic asset, while China views the Nicaragua Canal as a potential game-changer for its trade routes. For Nicaragua, the stakes are high. The country has long been one of the poorest in Latin America, with an economy heavily reliant on agriculture and a limited industrial base. However, the construction of a canal could potentially transform Nicaragua's economy, lifting it out of poverty and positioning it as a new economic hub for the region. To fully understand the significance of this proposal, it's important to consider Nicaragua's geographical position. Despite being a small country, about 130,000 square kilometers in size and with a population of just over 6.6 million, Nicaragua's location is highly strategic. It sits at the crossroads of Central America, bordered by Honduras to the north and Costa Rica to the south. Its position connects the Pacific Ocean to the west and the Caribbean Sea to the east, making it an ideal site for a canal that could link the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. This unique geography gives Nicaragua tremendous potential for economic and political leverage, particularly as a critical route for international trade between America, Europe, and Asia. Nicaragua's favorable location was once so compelling that, in the 19th century, the United States considered building a canal there instead of in Panama. At the time, Nicaragua was not only geographically ideal, but also rich in natural resources. The possibility of building a transoceanic canal in Nicaragua was highly attractive, and had the project gone forward, it might have completely transformed Nicaragua's economy. But ultimately, the U.S. chose Panama, and the reasons behind this decision are critical to understanding why Nicaragua's canal plans have remained unfulfilled. One of Nicaragua's most important natural resources is Lake Nicaragua, the largest freshwater lake in Central America. This lake could theoretically connect the two oceans via natural rivers, making it an ideal site for a canal. In fact, Nicaragua's geographical advantages might even surpass those of Panama. The Panama Canal requires a complex system of locks to deal with the significant differences in altitude, which can make operations less efficient and increase costs. Nicaragua's natural waterways, by contrast, could offer a more efficient route without the need for such locks. However, while Nicaragua's geography appears to be ideal for canal construction, there are significant challenges to consider. The country lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an area with frequent volcanic activity and earthquakes. This makes the region highly prone to natural disasters, which could devastate a large infrastructure project like the proposed canal. Furthermore, the water level fluctuations in Lake Nicaragua are a seasonal challenge, with the lake rising and falling in response to changes in rainfall patterns. These fluctuations could complicate shipping schedules and the overall operation of the canal. In light of these obstacles, Nicaragua has historically struggled to pursue such a large-scale project. Even in the late 19th century, the United States explored the possibility of building a canal through Nicaragua, but ultimately abandoned the idea after assessing the high geological risks and technical difficulties. By comparison, the U.S. ultimately decided to build the Panama Canal, overcoming numerous challenges, including health issues, technical difficulties, and political conflicts. When the Panama Canal opened in 1914, it was a monumental achievement, requiring 10 years of intense work, tens of thousands of laborers, and hundreds of millions of dollars in investment. The Panama Canal's historical importance cannot be overstated. For much of the 20th century, the canal was a crucial strategic asset, not only for global trade but also for U.S. military and geopolitical influence. The U.S. controlled the canal for nearly a century, until Panama regained control in 1999. Even then, the U.S. maintained military bases around the canal, ensuring continued influence over the region. However, with rising tensions between the U.S. and China, particularly under Trump's administration, the idea of regaining control over the Panama Canal has resurfaced. If the U.S. were to take control again, it would significantly impact China's trade routes and potentially choke off access to critical markets in the Americas. As part of the broader U.S. strategy to counter China's influence, Panama has recently moved to distance itself from China. In 2024, the Panamanian president publicly announced that the country would not renew its Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, agreement with China, which had been signed in 2017. Panama has also promised to allow U.S. warships free passage through the canal. These actions strongly suggest that the U.S. is behind Panama's decision to sever ties with China, particularly as the U.S. military prepares for large-scale exercises in the Pacific region. For China, the potential loss of the Panama Canal as a trade route is a significant concern. However, the Nicaragua Canal could serve as an alternative, offering a new route for Chinese goods to reach markets in North America, Europe, and beyond. Once completed, the Nicaragua Canal would shorten the shipping route between the U.S. East Coast and West Coast by about 4,000 kilometers and reduce the travel time and cost for global shipping. For China, which ships tens of billions of dollars worth of goods through the Panama Canal each year, the Nicaragua Canal could be a vital backup if U.S. control of the Panama Canal becomes a reality. For Nicaragua, the canal project could be a game-changer. The country's economy, which currently relies heavily on agriculture and livestock, could see a massive influx of revenue from canal tolls. It is estimated that Nicaragua could earn over $3 billion annually from tolls alone, more than double its current fiscal revenue. The canal would also create tens of thousands of jobs, potentially doubling Nicaragua's GDP within a few years. The economic transformation of Nicaragua would likely make it the new economic center of Central America, dramatically improving living standards and economic opportunities for its citizens. The idea of constructing the Nicaragua Canal gained traction in 2013, when a Chinese businessman proposed building a canal that could rival or even surpass the Panama Canal. This project would span 278 kilometers, 3 times longer than Panama's canal, and could accommodate the largest ships currently unable to pass through the Panama Canal. While the challenges of such an ambitious project are enormous, including the massive capital required and potential environmental concerns, the Chinese businessman expressed confidence that the canal could be completed in just 7 years. If successful, the Nicaragua Canal would become a formidable competitor to the Panama Canal and could even shift the balance of global shipping power. However, the project has faced significant setbacks. Sanctions from the U.S. have slowed Nicaragua's economic development, and the construction of the canal has yet to begin. By 2020, no progress had been made on the canal, and the Chinese businessmen behind the plan had been delisted from the stock market. Nevertheless, Nicaragua's government has kept the Canal Construction Committee intact, indicating that the country still hopes to build the canal in the future. In 2021, Nicaragua made a key diplomatic shift, abandoning its ties with Taiwan and re-establishing relations with China. This move signals Nicaragua's desire to secure Chinese financial backing to make the canal project a reality. Although the Nicaragua Canal project remains stalled, China has been quietly investing in infrastructure projects across Latin America, hoping to create alternatives to the Panama Canal. For instance, the Chancay port in Peru, which opened in 2024, is strategically located near Lima and is designed to become a major transportation hub in the region. This port, along with other investments, allows China to bypass the Panama Canal, offering another way to transport goods through Latin America without relying on U.S.-controlled shipping routes. While the Nicaragua Canal remains a long-term ambition, its potential to reshape global trade and provide an alternative to the Panama Canal cannot be underestimated. If successful, it could fundamentally alter the dynamics of international shipping, benefiting not only China, but also other countries that rely on efficient and cost-effective